The following is an exclusive presentation of the Yes Network.
Sly, you were so convincing as Rocky. At the height of your training, do you think you could have beaten a professional fighter?
Probably not. No, because I actually had a few reality checks when I was training for Rocky 3, and I was much better, because in Rocky 1 I was just so awkward. But in Rocky 3, I wanted to say, you know what, let me use a real fighter. So we brought Joe Frazier in, and he was in the ring for maybe 11 seconds, and I had 4 stitches.
Get out.
I swear to God, 4 bang, boom. And then he goes, I'm sorry, I guess, you know, all these years I said, please, you can beat me, I'll write an affidavit. There's no challenge, it's an actor. Then I brought in Ernie Shavers, and he never hit me in the jaw, but I said, you know, he just started to move, and I figured, oh, I'll outrun him, no problem. You know, they've always said, well, Ernie's kind of like slow. First of all, he's all state.
Oh, really?
Halfback, speed. Bell rings, next thing I'm in the corner, I can't get out. And he starts to unload, and he hit me just on the arms. And I said, someone has released a Buick into the ring. And it was a Buick. It was like literally bouncing against chrome. And I started to squeal, this new kind of sound. I got in touch with my feminine side very quickly, very, very quickly. So let me tell you. And then I did one with Duran, and I said, okay, I'll beat him. Yeah, right. I don't know if you saw a man go from a young Italian man to Roquefort cheese, the coloring of Roquefort, blue cheese, blue, yellow,
oh, man,
tapioca colored. I mean, he was extraordinary. And he literally could do it standing on a handkerchief. But see, there's certain earmarks that give it away. When he was starting to work a speed bag with his head, you know you shouldn't be in the ring with a guy. It's like, with his head, as fast as you can move your hands.
That's Sylvester Stallone. I'm Michael Kay, and this is Center Stage.
Bex presents Center Stage.
Sylvester Stallone took the age-old story of an underdog fighting against the odds and turned Rocky into a timeless classic. He made his name tackling physical roles in action films like Rambo, Cliffhanger, and Driven. He's also taken on more serious roles like the one of a small-town sheriff in Copland. And audiences have seen the lighter side of Sly with starring roles in Ants and Spy Kids 3D. And off-screen, no matter how busy Stallone is in Hollywood, he still finds time to be a big sports fan. So let's welcome to Center Stage actor, writer, director, and producer, Sylvester Stallone. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
A good place to start would be your childhood. I heard you really like comic books. Is it true that you tried to fly like Commando Cody?
Doesn't everyone? Yeah, so don't tell me that children are not influenced by the media that surrounds them. Yes, I did. And actually, I think I broke a collarbone and landed in a half-finished barbecue pit or whatever. They were, you know, back in the 50s, they were making patios and whatever. Yeah, I did that. I tried it.
Now you were teased as a kid because you were a little bit different. Why was that? What was that about?
Well, I had a bit of a speech impediment, which I probably carry to this day, and that's how you're doing. So it all worked, but it all worked. It all worked. You know what I mean? Kind of, thank God. But yeah, you know, so it was a mess. I was just born down the road here in Hell's Kitchen, so there was kind of I had accent to overcome and so on, and I was very, very thin. So it wasn't until I saw a film called, again, Influence, Hercules Unchained, and went, oh my God, here's a guy who can defeat the entire Roman army with the jawbone of an axe. I have to investigate.
I want to be that.
What's he training on? What's he eating? And ever since then, Steve Reeves, I was very impressed with that.
What comes to your mind when I say the name Pat Glorioso?
Oh my God. Pat Glorioso gave me my first beating, I think, in Philadelphia.
What happened? Why?
Well, then I had my moment because I was new in town, and I had just come from Maryland. It was because of a divorce. I was raised in Maryland. I just had gotten to Philadelphia, and I was in Northeast Philadelphia, and I was standing on the corner, like wearing a shirt that said "Cadet" or something really, you know, why don't you just wear a Target? Just punch me, $5, you know, okay? And this guy walked up and just laid it on me, and I went, "Thank you, welcome to Philadelphia." Oh yeah, bingo. But then we became good friends because it was just an indoctrination into the neighborhood, like Agony. So he hit me in that manly part of the manly area of the manly center, somewhere located between the hips and the lower hips.
Right.
Okay.
I got you.
And after that, it was great. And then eventually had my moment with him. But it was good.
Now, you got into some trouble as a kid.
Wow.
We dug that out, our research.
Jesus.
Have you ever seen him or heard from him since?
No, I hadn't. No, there was a few guys like Charlie Flynn and Pat Glorioso that I just really kind of like formed my demented outlook on life.
You went to a lot of schools. Why?
Because I think I had kind of an attention span deficit that was undiagnosed. At that time, you were just a bad guy. You were a rebellious kid. You just couldn't focus.
Yeah,
but
you were in high school?
They had. Oh my God! Yikes! I was in my Plinth Garnell look. Like yachting anyone? I don't know what I was thinking. So, really, did someone see my America's Cup? So, I didn't really form the right kind of like values until, unfortunately, I left school and finally I had gotten it together, like at around 21, and so I became more or less self-educated. So I understand what kids go through when they're just misdiagnosed and they're just rebellious, and a lot of them just cannot focus. So what you do is you get them a job like an air traffic controller where they can be everywhere at the same time and they're happy.
And they better focus.
They better focus.
Now, in one of these schools, you learned how to play football, right?
Yeah,
And
I did. I learned at a place called Devereaux, and then I played a little bit in Lincoln, but in Devereaux. And then my first year, I was a very late starter in athletics. I just didn't have a lot of interaction with sports early on. Matter of fact, I think I lost the first third grade baseball game. I was playing catcher, and someone hit a pop-up, and I covered my head. It's like this. And to this day, these are traumatic experiences. To this day, that haunts me. Okay, this is third grade, 8 years old.
We're bringing you back to that,
Please, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Therapy, please.
Now, I heard that this football team, because there were kids with attention deficit disorder,
Yeah.
you guys didn't listen to each other.
No, actually, the huddle became a group therapy session. It became like intervention. Let's pull the quarterback away. Guys are having meltdowns. Where's my Thorazine? Oh, please. It was horrifying. We lost all 10 games.
I bet.
0-10.
I bet.
0-10.
You ended up going to Switzerland to go to school, too. And you're the only guy who didn't ski.
Exactly right.
Why?
Girls.
Really?
Yeah, it was. I was influenced by girls and a thing called foosball, which is, I thought, okay, what do I want? A broken neck or learn foosball? Well, I'm the only man who came back from living on a mountain with strong wrists and the inability to stand up in snow. I just I really, why'd you even go there?
Well, Sylvester Stallone goes to Hollywood and he makes it big. That and more when we return right here on Center Stage. So stay right here. Welcome back to Center Stage. I'm talking with Sylvester Stallone. So you have some tough times in New York, and then you end up moving to Hollywood, and you're writing a screenplay.
Right.
And while you're writing it, you actually go to a closed-circuit fight of Muhammad Ali and Chuck Wepner, and that gave you Rocky?
Well, it gave me the idea of that here's an interesting character who everyone underrated, and then he goes the distance, and he knocks the fellow down. I said, it's like with the Marciano fights and Chuck Wepner fight, it gives truth to what you're doing. It's not just based in rumor or hearsay.
Was it like an epiphany for you as you're watching that and go, wow, this is a movie?
Well, what it was is I had done a Paradise Alley, which is based on wrestlers, and unfortunately I had sold the rights for $100. And this other fellow says, I want to be the producer. And the studio said, we won't work with him. He's too much of a neophyte. So I went home and said, I need a story about redemption and how you can rise above the odds and so on and so forth, and how you're usually dismissed and you're past your prime. And, all I had seen at that time was, Marciano, and you said Jersey Joe Walcott, and then there was a Chuck Wepner fight, which is a really interesting format. It's not that we duplicated or anything, because I wouldn't do that, but it shows that these things can happen. in reality.
Are you amazed at how Rocky? I mean, Rocky is part of Americana now. At Yankee Stadium in the ninth inning, when they have to come back, there's Rocky stuff. There's Rocky stuff all over. Are you amazed by that?
I'm totally amazed by it, and it just has to be. It's kind of like inspiration never goes out of, or the fact that everyone is sort of an underdog. Even the Yankees, you know, at one time, even everyone needs kind of like a little injection now and then, a little support. So, but I wasn't aware of that when I was writing it. I just thought I was doing something for the summer.
One of the
guts. I thought that was really. I sort of got it. It was like they basically, this was a movie being done for 28 days, kind of like second billing at a drive-in. Wow. Really? Yeah, it's true. True.
Every summer for the rest of all time now.
I know, but I can't say it was planned. It was an accident.
The best thing about this story, and I've read it, so I want to hear it from you, is that you were dead broke. Oh, yeah. And they bought it, and they wanted to buy this movie, and you wouldn't take all the money because you wanted to be in it. Where does that come from, and what part of your body do you say, no, I don't need to eat. I really want to star in this?
I guess, you know, they say ignorance is bliss. So if you've never had anything, like today, I would go, okay, I'm selling. I can't give up the house.
Right.
You know, but if you don't have the house and you don't have anything, and then you're just sitting there and you go, okay, I wrote this for myself, and I don't even know if it's that good, but if obviously someone likes it, I'll regret it. I know I'll regret it. And you know, I bet I say it once a week. I walk around and I say, thank God.
Really?
All the time. All the time. It's like you did one thing right. In life, you can do 1,000 things wrong. You just do one thing right. You go, whew. Wow. That makes up for the other 999 mistakes sometimes.
Now, how real were the fight scenes, and how much did you have to get into shape for those movies?
A lot. Yeah, because as opposed to a fight, which is, you know, incredibly grueling, and you can, you know, face life and death, this fight will go on for months. So you're in the gym, and you have to be able to do scenes over and over and over and over again. So you'll be in the ring for maybe altogether 60, 70 hours, you know, and then you piece it down to like 15 minutes or 8 minutes. So I felt what set Rockies apart from other fighting films is the way the American public, or the world in general, perceives a fight, usually through television, and it's kind of a wide shot. Very rarely are you above anywhere near the ankles. You're wide. So you can see the movement and the ballet and you know, boxer against puncher. You start getting into this, that's I don't know what that is, but it's not boxing. It's now becomes like, oh, we're supposed to see the pain, but the pain really is in the body language. You know, when you see someone who's truly connected in a wide shot, you go, oh, like, you know, the great Gotti fight with Mickey Ward. Right. If you were here, you wouldn't sense it. Right. You know, so you're just too close to the action. So that means, basically, it's a long-winded dissertation. You have to practice a great deal to be able to throw and not get caught. But
did you get hurt at all?
Oh man.
Really?
Dolph Lundgren put me in the hospital for 9 days. 9 days.
That was Rocky III.
Yeah. I was 9. Yeah. I knew I was in trouble when I showed up and nuns met you.
That's not a good sign.
It was an accident. It was I had seen the Hagler-Hearns fight, and I went, well, you know what? I gotta forget what we've been practicing now, Dolph. I want you to get out there and just try to clock me, knock me out. Just go for the first minute of the fight. It's going to be a free for all. I want it to be, because what I saw in Hagler and Hearns, two consummate professionals went crazy on each other. They just literally went nuts.
3 rounds.
And 3 rounds. They became not like amateurs, but like two truly brutal enemies. So I said, do the same thing. So he comes out there, and I'm like 5'10", he's like 6'12". Okay, he's beyond height. And he was also a world champion kickboxer, so he knows how to fight. And he's, boom, in the chest. And that night, I started feeling palpitations, and they said, oh my God. And I went to the hospital. They put me on a low altitude flight, and then I had to go back to St. John's Hospital in California. 9 days later, Lloyd's of London were brought in. Oh, we know he's faking it. I said, no, I don't want to hang out in ICU for 9 days. It's not my idea of a vacation. So they went through the film, and sure enough, and I don't know how fighters do not get hurt more often. It was an uppercut, caught the ribs, which hit the heart against the rib cage, and it's a thing called a pericardial sac. He said you usually get this in head-on collisions. I said, well, close. Wow. I did hit a bus of sorts.
Well, more of the on-screen life of Sylvester Stallone coming up next right here on Center Stage.